Already know the fabulous Kelley Freeman, but what you may not know from the last talk with our fabulous Kelley Freeman is that she is also our primary point of contact with the media at Secular Student Alliance. So every time we show up in the news, it's because Kelley has been doing awesome work, like the dispatch story about the conference just a couple of days ago. So let me give you back Kelley Freeman so she can talk at you very speedily for a while longer.
Yeah, there should be 2 reporters at the conference today, which are thanks to me. So what Liz isn't telling you is I'm currently the only dedicated communications person at the Secular Student Alliance, but if you want to apply to be my job, we are currently hiring a communications director. So yeah, what I am talking about right now is traditional media, or how I learned to stop worrying and love the news, which is apparently very similar to a talk that was given earlier in this room, so that's fun. And it's going to have a very similar setup to my last talk, and I will hopefully talk less fast, but we'll find out. So why would you want to do traditional media? You want to get eyes on your group. Duh. Traditional media is a lot of ways, especially for people who aren't constantly involved in the internet, easier for people to find you. It's also a good way to get your group in searches. So when people type in Secular Student Alliance, they won't just come up with us. You'll also see University of New Mexico or the AHA University of Wisconsin. Like, I've done this myself. I have typed in Secular Student Alliance and have found lots of student groups. Not because I was looking for them, but just because they have managed to get into searches from doing traditional media. You'll also have a lot of political legitimacy from being in traditional media. So if you decide to go to your congressman and be like, hey, we want you to stop doing this, or we'd like you to back this, if he can do a search about your organization and find you, you're going to look a lot more legit. So, how do you get media attention? You're going to want to be newsworthy. You're going to want to target the correct outlets. You're going to want to have a compelling message, and you're going to want to prepare, and you're going to want to deliver it properly. These are like the 5 tenets of how to get media attention. So yeah, I'll go break these down. So what is newsworthy? Hosting creative events. The University of South Carolina in 2010 hosted something called Stony Heathen, which is now turned into an activity packet on the website that your group can also do. The premise is pretty easy. You get a bunch of water balloons, and then you get people to pay you to take a water balloon and then throw them at your members. Pretty straightforward. What we did with this event is we raised money for Amnesty International and to raise awareness that stoning still exists in the world. Like, there are people whose minds were blown because they thought stoning was a barbaric practice, because, you know, it is, but it also still happens in 2010 and 2015. So host creative events that make people go, I'm sorry, what? You're going to want to partner with other organizations. You're going to want to have strange bedfellows. If you're partnering with the Muslim Student Association on campus, and people are going to go, again, I'm sorry, what? So anything that makes people go, I'm sorry, what, is going to be newsworthy. Offer counterintuitive points of view. Maybe you wouldn't have guessed this, but atheists are the counterintuitive point of view. We are, for now, the minority in the United States, and it'll be easy, especially if you're a new group on campus or in a very conservative area, to get into the press, because people are going to go, what? I'm sorry, what? It's also really easy to get into the news if you're first. Because I was the first group doing the Stony Heathen, I got my article published on Friendly Atheist, which is a really, really well-read and, I wouldn't say circulated, but lots of people read Friendly Atheist. And I had a friend who goes to a different university call me up that day and go, I saw your article on Friendly Atheist, holy shit. So it's really easy to be the first person to do something, that'll get you coverage. Also, not ironically, groups just forming at universities will often get them into the news. There was a group that formed at Columbia University that got into their local newspaper because they were the first group. So really just like existing. Like, your existence is newsworthy. Congratulations, make it cooler. So what kind of outlets are you going to want to reach out to? You're going to want to look at the right region, you're going to want to look at the right audience, you're going to want to look for the right beat, and you're going to want to use your relationships. So you're going to want to go this way. You're going to want to go reach out to your campus organizations, your local organizations, maybe blogs if you have a good relationship with a blogger, and if you have something really big, you want to go national. So if you're in Alabama at the University of Montevideo, you're going to want to stop at the campus newspaper saying, hey, we're doing a protest in favor of same-sex marriage on these dates. Interested in coming and checking out a protest? And they'll be like, hell yeah, this is a slow news day. I'm going to cover some cool stuff. And if you're doing something controversial, like you are in Montevideo, Alabama, go to your local newspapers, and then maybe blogs will pick it up, and then maybe you will see it nationally, because that's how I can tell you about the University of Montevideo's same-sex protest, because I heard about it. I mean, I have your news alerts, and I will learn anyway, but like, it went this little cool little arrow thing, like it just went this direction, so make sure that you're reaching out to your media. So pick your region. So you're not going to want to talk to somebody in New York about something that's happening in Alabama. You're going to want to talk to your audience. Look for education. Look for religion. Look for lifestyle. Look for LGBT if you're pairing with LGBT. Don't talk to somebody about food if you're doing an event about stoning. That just doesn't, they're going to be like, no. That's just, no. So yeah, pick the right beat. Use your relationships. You're going to hopefully have a couple members that are on your campus newspaper. Talk to them. All right, so what's your compelling message? So you have a story, but you have to prepare. So you're going to want to come up with talking points and quotes. Sorry. Interestingly enough, you don't have to come up with your talking points and your quotes when you're being interviewed on television. You can like sit with your group beforehand and come up with them then. You're going to want to do mock interviews, so have somebody who's okay with grilling you about your event talk to you beforehand so you can answer the hard questions. You're going to want to stay on message. I know that, did any of y'all attend Amanda Scott's talk earlier? Because I'm pretty sure she drove home the stay on message point, because that was all I was seeing on Twitter. So I think that's an important point, to stay on message. Don't get distracted. You're going to want to consider objections. So if somebody is like, Kelly, I see you guys did Stone a Heathen. Don't you think that mocks people who are being stoned in the Middle East? Come up with the objections and come up with your counterpoints. So make sure, like, understand where people are going to be coming from with your event. Don't get distracted. Again, stay on message. Like, stay on message, don't get distracted. Those two things, important. Listen. So you're going to want to deliver what now? So you're going to want to deliver your message properly. If you have, for example, a letter to editor, follow the guidelines for submission. You could have done everything great. It could be a fantastic letter, but because you submitted it badly, they're not going to post it. So make sure that you read the directions. You're college students and older. Follow directions. Please follow directions. Be timely. If you're talking today about same-sex marriage equality and the ruling was 2-3 weeks ago, they're probably not going to, well, actually, they'll probably still talk about that, but my point is to say, don't talk about something that's 2-3 weeks later. You're going to want to talk about it as soon as it happens. Be polite. It's amazing how far you can get in life by just being nice to people. You're going to want to follow up. You're going to want to reach out to the media, like you send them a press release, and now what? You're going to call them and be like, hey, and I'll get to that later. So yeah, so how get media? You're going to want to do letters to the editors. You're going to want to do press releases, media advisories, statements, and sometimes it's just right time, right place. So we just sent a letter because we feel strongly about an issue. We are correcting a misconception about our organization. We want people to take a specific action, and we want to influence public policy, or we want to honor an anniversary. And you can actually find all of the guidelines for letter to the editor at secularstudents.org/letter to the editor. I've written the resource. It is very comprehensive on how to write a letter to the editor, so use the resource. Yay, resources. So yeah, if you are writing about separation of church and state, that's a good reason to write a letter to the editor. If you have an op-ed in your newspaper talking about how atheists are immoral or really bad people, like a group in Shelby did, no, Ferris State, and you're going to want to write a letter to the editor correcting the misconception, saying, actually, we're pretty nice people. We don't eat babies. You're going to want people to take a specific action. So if you want people to vote for a specific candidate, which you can't do because we're a 501c3, that's just an example, you're going to want to write a letter to the editor saying, this is a candidate, I think they're great, this is why. Or I want people to come out to our event because this is why. You're going to want to, like for example, a great time to honor an anniversary would be for Darwin Day. Write a letter to the editor about Darwin Day and why it's important and why our group is doing something cool for it. So yeah, what kind of letter is a letter to the editor? It is a very opinionated letter. It's a very, again, timely letter. It's a letter that gives you the opportunity to speak on behalf of your group, and you want to reflect your community. So these two are particularly important because you're going to have a lot more gravitas if you are writing on behalf of the Secular Student Alliance at the University of Montevideo or University of South Carolina. Your group could have 3 members. They don't know, but you have a name and a title, and that gives you more gravitas. So be able to speak on behalf of your group. And you want to reflect to the general community. So you want to be able to talk about non-theist and non-religious people in your community for Letter to the Editor, because you're going to be a reflection of it. So speak with authority, speak like that you have been, speak like you have the power to, is what I'm saying. And you want to end your letter to the editor with an invitation. So regardless of what you're talking about, if you are writing it on behalf of the Secular Student Alliance at your university, you're going to want to end in your letter to the editor with an invitation to a meeting or to an event, because again, traditional media is all about promoting your group and getting your eyes on your group, and if you get some recruitment on the side of that, there are worse things that could happen. So, we're going to be talking about press releases now. What are press releases? Press releases are pre-written, pre-packaged, and ready-to-go articles. Basically, you are handing a story to a reporter, and they're going to just be like, cool, and then basically write a check mark, and it'll be in the newspapers tomorrow. Press releases are super easy for you to get media attention, because you're doing all the work and making it really easy for the reporters. So I'm saying it's really easy to get media attention. It's not necessarily easy work. So press releases announces breaking news. They are objective. If you are writing a press release, if you have opinions, they must be as quotes. So they are not like letters to the editor. They are like objective. They should have the facts about the event, about the article, about anything you're writing about. So again, objective with facts in quotes, or opinions in quotes. You're going to want to send these early in the week and early in the day, so people actually have a chance to see them and a chance to read them. So if your event is tomorrow and you're writing a press release at 5 in the afternoon on this Friday, then it's not going to get read, your story's not going to run, and you're just wasting your time. So you're going to want to prepare to write these. And just like a side note, just make sure that these are in plain text and proper format, and I will get to that. This is a very long link, secularstudents.org/resources/press release. This is one of the first things I wrote when I came on board with the Secular Student Alliance. It is in a 11-page article, 11-page resource on how to write press releases. It is one of the most comprehensive things we have on our website. I promise you it is thorough, and any questions you have about press releases can be answered in this. I'm very proud of this resource. It is my baby. So please use it. It is so great. So I'll cover a little bit more about format, but if you have any actual questions about press releases, that's the link to go to, and you can also email me. I have my business card. I'm easy to find on the website. So we're going to talk about format. We have so many sample press releases for you to make it even easier for you to write. We have one for Darwin Day. We have one for Ask an Atheist Day. We have one for Graveyard of the Gods. We have one for Openly Secular Day. We have one for National Day of Reason. Like any big event, we have a sample press release that you can just fill in the blank. So we make it very, very easy for you. And this is our basic format. So you see this like weird format. Let's like give all the contact information, clever and bold headline, and like the links. They will take you to the resource for press releases and explain what that means. So if you click on headline, it'll take you to a place that explains what a headline is. And it'll even explain like what these three little pound signs, not hashtags, mean. So I make it very easy to learn how to do a press release. Just utilize the resource. Please tweet about utilizing the resource. And then we're going to talk about media advisories. I have not yet written a resource about this. I'm working on it. Those are one-page sheets, and they alert reporters to an upcoming event. And they make it easier for reporters to quickly figure out the details, and they are essentially an invitation. So if you had been to our website recently, you would have seen this, which is the media advisory for this conference. Yeah! So if you guys have any questions about media advisories, I'd be happy to. They're usually a bit longer than press releases. They usually list like names of speakers and short bios. They list who, what, when, where, and maybe even a why. So it's details, very dry, but like essentially an invitation for media to come to the conference or your event. All right, statements. These are written in first person, and these are for people when people already know the story, and you're basically just giving your commentary. And you want these to be brief, so you want to make every sentence count when you're writing a statement. And these should include contact information. And an example of this would be our statement on same-sex marriage equality decision. Everyone knew what that was because everybody was waiting for it from SCOTUS. So on my day off, I got to write a 300-ish word statement about our feelings on that and debut our kick-ass LGBTQ logo. So statements are, again, something that needs to be timely, something that needs to be quickly out, and it's written in first person, or I guess like collective first, what is that called? Collective first person, we? Yeah, okay, so on behalf of your group again, and when people already know the story. So regardless of what you send out to the press, you need to follow up. Don't ask the press if they got it. They'll be like, yeah, whatever, and then hang up on you. You're going to want to try and initiate a conversation with these people. You're going to say, instead of, oh, hi, this is Kelly from Secular Student Alliance. I want to know if you got my press release. They'd be like, what? I don't know. You're going to say, I wanted to see if you had any questions about our press release. And if they're like, I haven't had a chance to read it, I'm sorry, that'll give you the opportunity to pitch your story to a real-life human being. You can do this you're going to want to do this over the phone. So when you're researching contact information for reporters, you're going to want to get their email as well as their phone number. You can follow up via email, but you're not going to get a response. I did this for when I sent out individual press passes. I sent them essentially what was our media advisory, and then a follow-up email said, hey, I haven't heard from you, just wanted to follow up about this and make sure it was at the top of your inbox. So you can do it via email, but I don't recommend it. It's much easier to get a real-life human being to pitch a story to on the phone. Regardless of what you end up talking, who you end up talking to or what you end up talking about, you're going to want to take their advice. If they're like, yeah, I don't think this really works for me, you want to probably send it to this person next time, then take that person's information and their contact and don't send it to this person, send it to that person next time. But at the end of the day, sometimes your event really just needs to be right time, right place, and that's really all it takes. This is an example from my own life. This little girl is a first grader. This is at ComFest. This is in Columbus 2 weekends ago, where there was a preacher who was angrily spouting about his life. What I'm really sad about is me and my boyfriend had signs that say, God hates signs, and you deserve respect, and we got a lot of people that got their attention, but we're not the ones that were in Gawker, because we're not adorable first graders. So really, sometimes it is just right time, right place when it comes to press. And there's our picture. Yay. All right, and that's all I have for traditional media, and this is going to be revamped but has a lot of information right now. secularstudents.org/media relations, where you can find information about social media, information about traditional media, and I'll be continually updating it, especially like with my talks, since mine are better than the ones from 2010. And that's my contact information, and my email is kelly.freeman@secularstudents.org. And hi Nick, I hope you enjoyed editing this video. And yeah, any questions?
You are thorough.
I am thorough. That's why you hired me. Yes?
Any thoughts when your school newspaper wants nothing to do with you?
Why don't they want anything to do with you?
They don't want anything to do with us. We had James Randi come and give a talk, do a viewing and then do a Q&A after his news thing. And our school newspaper put a table with the only group there. They didn't want to talk to us. They didn't want to deal with us. They talked to our advisor, who didn't I think he mentioned us, but then they edited, they even had a video, they edited it out. So it feels very, I just don't.
So they covered your event but didn't mention you at all?
Basically, yeah.
I
mean, it wasn't technically our event. We didn't sponsor it, but our advisor was that's who our student advisor was. And yeah. So any idea of what to do?
I would recommend, did you send out any stuff ahead of time about this event?
We were literally brand new. We just started in January, so there's a lot of stuff that we, and it just happened 2 weeks after we began our route.
Well, in that case, I would be not necessarily blaming the newspaper, and that they won't have anything to do with you. Test the waters this fall with your first couple events, like by sending out a media advisory or press release or an invite to your first couple events. And if nobody shows up or nobody responds, then maybe go talk to the advisor of the campus newspaper. But like, it could just be like a weird off day. I don't know. People. Surprisingly enough, reporters are also people.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they even asked us. They were like, hey, your event and everything else, and they asked us a few questions. Not like an actual interview, but just to offer kind of stuff and to answer them. They didn't have anything to do with us. They actually, the video actually goes around our table. So they're like doing things, and then there's a cut, and it goes to the other stuff. So I don't know what was going on with that. But
a lot of times it's not necessarily up to the writer, but like their editor. I don't know what to tell you. Just try in the fall. I have 5 minutes left, so if anyone has any questions, let me know. Whoop, whoop. I love my job. Media's cool.
So as far as statements go, like
when is it appropriate to release a statement? If something is relevant to your group, unfortunately the best examples I have are in response to tragedy. When there were shootings at the University of North Carolina, the NC State group, or NC State or UNC, or maybe even both, released a statement on behalf of their organization condemning the killings, which were done by an atheist. So that's a good time to release a statement. And I don't like saying that, but also like big rulings, either side of separation of church and state, like the Hobby Lobby ruling would have been a good time to, or same-sex marriage equality. Any like allied organizations, like if you're in support of like what they're doing, then you want to come out in support of them in a statement. That kind of stuff. Yeah. Yes.
I just wanted to say that I'm sorry that I walked up right there.
Rude. It's okay. I was done anyway. All right. Cool. Thanks for coming to my talk, y'all.